topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Good morning. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show. I'm your host, Steve-O. We have got a great expert coming on today about 1020. If you are a snorer or you have a partner who is a snorer, you don't want to miss today's show. It's actually a very special show to me, because I was a snorer, and our guest at 1020, Janet Bennett, she developed a technique that actually can get you to stop snoring. And I have been on a CPAP machine for about 5 years, maybe 6 years. It definitely got me to stop snoring, but it was the most uncomfortable thing to wear while I was asleep. And I met Janet, and she told me about this technique she had that would actually get a person to stop snoring. I got to tell you, I did not believe it, because I was one of those people who tried everything out on the market. I tried, and nothing worked. When I met Janet, I wanted to try her technique to see if it would work for me. I knew that the chances were very slim, and not everything works for everybody also. But I got to tell you, her technique got me off my CPAP machine. I haven't used it in probably about 2, maybe 3 months. And I cannot wait for her to come on. In the meantime, we finally have some openings on Ask the Experts, where you can actually bring your business, whether it's in the health field, financial, home improvement, legal. You can actually come on our show and help us educate our listeners and viewers. It is an incredible way to promote your business and educate people. This is our 12th year. And this is amazing. Many of the businesses that were with us from day one are still with us. That's how successful this program has been and will continue to be. About 2 years ago, we made a decision that podcast was the best way to go. And we were with top radio stations across the country. And it took me some time to believe in podcast. I am so glad that we did, because we have 3 times the audience now, and we had a huge audience before. And what this show actually offers is not only podcasts, but it offers radio and streaming TV. The streaming TV is amazing, because you can actually take your show that you do and apply it to your website, which actually will draw more people to your website, which will raise you in the search engines. So that alone has got a great value to it. Um, we are looking at some new topics to add. We just added mesothelioma, the asbestos cancer, and it was a huge hit. We did it for the first time several weeks ago for our 25-minute show, and it was so successful, we're going to the entire 50 minutes starting next month. Our next expert, who I told you about, was snoring. She has been with us for 2 years, and it's very successful for a business. Anybody can start a podcast. It's very cheap just to start your own podcast. Where the expense comes in is promoting it and letting people know your podcast is out there. And we have one of the top companies, production companies for podcasts that we're affiliated with. And they handle all the promotions. Plus, we promote on our own too. We are adding TikTok starting next month, and actually, we've already started TikTok. In fact, today's show will be on TikTok starting next week, and we're just looking for all avenues to promote our show. But many, many, many people have listened to our show for years and years and years. So we've already got a very large name. And the podcast just brought us a whole new audience. So if you have a business, whether it's in the health field, home improvement, legal, health, financial, this is a great place to come. Where if you're viewing the show now, we're actually running the phone number you can call to become part of the show. The phone number is 954 336 3767. It's 954 336 3767. Though we're out of the South Florida area, we do shows in about 25 markets, and we would love to have you come on the show. People will say to us, well, I don't know what to say. And I always tell people that your business is like your baby. I don't need you to worry about what you're going to say when you're talking about your own child. It is so easy to do that. Most people who do the show for the first time, the very first thing they talk about is how fast it went by. It goes by very fast. And you got to think about this. The people who are listening to the show are people who have an interest in that area. When you do radio, they might tell you they got 30,000 listeners, but it doesn't mean 30,000 people have an interest in your product. And the numbers come way down. So with our show, the people who are listening to your show actually have an interest in your show. Like we're doing Stop Snoring today. Many of the people who are going to be listening or watching our show today, either they have a snoring problem, they have a partner that has a snoring problem, or they have a family member that has a snoring problem. And so it's a very targeted audience that you're reaching. I love doing the next show because I saw what it did for me. And if we can just reach one person on each show, because wearing a CPAP machine is got to be the most uncomfortable way to sleep at night with a mask over your face. Mine was nasal, but still, it was so uncomfortable. And if we can get people to get rid of the CPAP machine, which it absolutely works, but the technique that you're going to learn about on our next with our next expert is so easy to do, and it makes so much sense. And why no one ever thought about it? Uh, and Janet, I think she said her success rate, because she's also a speech pathologist, um, her success rate with getting people to stop snoring is 92%. And that is amazing. Um, I got to tell you, I even get a little choked up when I do the show. And in fact, Janet is with us now. I'm going to introduce you to her. And let's welcome our expert, Janet Bennett.
Good morning. Thank you
Good
for having me
morning,
on today.
Janet. You know what? I got to tell you that, by the way, I haven't talked to Janet in about a month, but I haven't touched my CPAP machine. And this show, Janet, it's almost got to get teary-eyed about it because, see, I know what it feels like to snore. I know what it feels like to wear a CPAP machine, which is what doctors tell you they put you on. And to find something after all these years of trying everything, that nothing worked, and we meet up, which I think God put us together, and that I can sleep at night without a CPAP machine. It's amazing because let me tell you, all those people out there that snore, you've probably been told by your partner, friends, somebody that you're snoring. And a lot of you deny it. I was a denier. But once I said, you know what, I do have a snoring problem and found out how dangerous it is.
Right.
And I went the CPAP route for years. And I said, well, better that I have this on, be it uncomfortable, than to snore. And then I meet Janet. And Janet, I was telling her before you came on, I didn't really believe you. I mean, it wasn't anything against you, but when you've tried everything on the market and nothing worked. And I said, but you know what? I am going to absolutely try this. And she told me her success rate's 92%, which is amazing.
94.
94%. That even, listen, if it was 80%, it would be good.
I know.
And I started noticing the results 1 week after doing her techniques. Now, I've talked a lot. I'm going to give the floor to Janet. But Janet, with all my heart, I know God put us together. You saved me. You say I sleep with no CPAP machine on, and it is the most. I love you. Let's just first of all tell people about your practice.
Okay, thank you, Steve. And it's not me who did it. You are the one who did simple tongue exercises, even though they were probably feeling very weird. None of them hurt, but they're kind of strange. It's hard for people to say, wait a minute, you mean I can stop snoring and start breathing better and sleeping better and all? I have a list of symptoms that go away. Do you mean to tell me that I can stop all of that just by doing tongue exercises? That's what it's all about. It sounds too strange, and people don't want to feel like they've been taken. So they're going to stick with the CPAP and all that, which I can understand that. However, my 94% success rate and all of I think I have more than 50 reviews, great reviews on my website. That's got to hopefully help a person decide to at least try, because this program is not expensive. And think about getting rid of these sleep deprivation symptoms in 7 weeks. Now
The
that's
same thing
important
that
too.
took me 1 week?
Well, no, you started feeling changes in 1 week, okay? But you
Yes.
had to do more exercises to feel more changes. Yeah. But I will say this, the first thing this program does is it tells you where your tongue should be living in your mouth, which is
Yes.
on the roof of the mouth. And I have met a couple of people who immediately were cured, if you will, because all they needed was to know where to put their tongue. Their tongue was strong. It wasn't a weak tongue. They didn't breathe through their mouth. So it's everybody's different. However, normally, over 90% of the time, by 7 weeks, people have got it under control. Okay. So I will tell you how I discovered this. Actually, I'm a speech pathologist. I have a private practice in Asheville, Candler, North Carolina. And I've been doing this for a lot of years. And so one day in the year 2003, I was treating a 14-year-old football player for a tongue thrust. Now, I don't know if I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who don't know what a tongue thrust is, but you've
Right.
seen people who have some buck teeth, or maybe they have an open bite, which is where their teeth won't close up. These people, when they swallow, their tongue pushes the back of their teeth. The tongue is all muscles and it's really strong. So that's what's making those buck teeth. Or when they swallow, their tongue comes out between their teeth. Anyway, so these people are mouth breathers also. So the reason, I specialize in the treatment of tongue thrust by doing tongue exercises, right? I'm going to train this 14-year-old football player to keep his tongue on the roof of his mouth so that he nasal breathes and he doesn't snore and all that stuff. So this particular day in 2003, his mom came into my office. It was her son's 3rd lesson. And she said, "Janet, what are you doing to Adam?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, he's always been the loudest snorer in the world." She said, "He rattles our windows and now he's not making a sound." I, well, I was shocked. I didn't know anything about snoring. Okay. And I certainly found it hard to believe that tongue exercises could help stop snoring. See, me just like everybody else. Anyway, so I said, "Adam, tell me more. What's going on?" And he said, "Well, it's true." He said, "I'm doing better in school. I can concentrate better and I run faster." So that got my attention more than the snoring. And so I, of course, Googled all this stuff, and I just knew I was going to find out that they treat snoring by using tongue exercises. I believed that, because who would I be to come up with some new easy way to do it? Anyway, so I did not find anything about tongue exercises. They wanted to chop off your uvula, that thing that hangs down in the back, or let's just break the jaw and pull it forward so that the airway gets bigger, or let's wear a CPAP machine, or maybe a $2,000 to $6,000 appliance that a
Yes.
dentist could make and I think that would also bring your jaw forward. There's some contraption that a person made that it's a big old rubber thing with a hole in it, and you put it in your mouth and then you stick your tongue through that hole so it holds it so it won't go into your airway to sleep that way at night. Anyway, there are lots of different gadgets out there. So that made me very excited. And ever since that day in 2003, I've been totally passionate about just doing some tongue exercises to make your tongue stronger so that it learns to habitually stay on the roof of your mouth. You can't breathe through your mouth when your tongue's up there. Can't do it. You have to breathe through your nose. It all works together. Breathing properly through your nose, sleeping well, and swallowing. All of those things go together, and we can't treat just one of them. So, which is a good thing. It's a great thing. These tongue exercises will change 3 of the major things that your body needs to survive. Okay? So, a lot of people don't know if they're snoring, but we can certainly find out that with a few questions. Okay, so when I discovered this in 2003, um, I decided that I was not able to train everyone in the world. Took me a while to convince myself that, but I did. So I came up with this idea that I had to put everything online. Everything about this program had to be easy, it had to be quick, it had to be inexpensive, and it had to be accessible to the whole world. And this world that we live in, it is accessible to everyone. And my program is in many, many countries. So I put it all online. I have a video that shows you how to do each exercise. I have a video where I'm there um, to exercise with you to make sure you do it correctly and you don't feel like, oh, I don't know if I'm doing this right or not. But it's a 7-week program, and you do one lesson every week for 7 weeks. Well, it's a different lesson each week, but for 7 lessons in 7 weeks. And by then, you are breathing through your nose. Excuse me, if you can physically breathe through your nose. If you can't, you need to go to a otolaryngologist or ear, nose, and throat doctor and say, fix my nose because I've got to learn how to swallow and breathe and sleep. That's really what it boils down to. So um, this is so that they feel very confident in the exercises. I have this, sorry, I had this tongue stick somewhere. But anyway, so this program also addresses the fact that a lot of people have a really large tongue. Okay, a really wide tongue. When they stick their tongue out, it is just super
That's
wide.
me.
Well, you're better now. You're better now.
Yeah,
But
I was
yes, a
biting
lot.
my tongue all the time.
I know, biting the sides of it. Yes, that's a real clear sign to you that, oh, my tongue is too wide. Okay, so if you're supposed to have your tongue living on the roof of your mouth and your tongue is too wide to fit up there, what are you going to do? Can't make it happen. Nothing out there will make it happen except I have created a tongue stick, and it's a special tool that it shows you how you learn how to stroke the sides of your tongue. You learn how to do isometric exercises with your tongue to strengthen it and get it real toned. And in the end, it makes your tongue skinnier. And I'm not going to be on here lying about that. Okay. Well,
Oh, I
you can
know.
say, Steve, right? You stopped
I
biting your
haven't bitten
tongue.
my tongue, Janet, since we started doing I used to bite it all the time. And
Right,
I didn't
right,
understand how am I biting my tongue? But that's
right.
what it was.
Well, it has no place to go. If it's
Yeah.
too wide, it's there, and you have to move it out of the way to talk sometimes and to chew. So, anyway, hopefully, this program just takes care of all of those issues for you. And I just want to point out some things. If you're sitting there thinking, well, do I need this program? I'm going to give you an idea. I'm going to do a few questions here, and you can answer them. Um, to yourself, of course. But when I evaluate someone, I would say, well, when you wake up in the morning, is your mouth dry? Do you wake up with a sore throat or a headache that goes away pretty quickly? Do you wake up tired? Now, if you've got to be in the bed a certain number of hours, but if you are in the bed, at least 8, 7 to 9 hours, there's no reason to wake up tired if you are sleeping well. When I grew up, Granddaddy sat over in the corner when we'd go to visit a lot. He sat in the corner of his living room in his chair, lounge chair, snoring so loudly, and everybody laughed. Oh, look, Granddaddy's sleeping so good. But no, Granddaddy wasn't sleeping at all because he was snoring and breathing through his mouth. When you do that, you cannot get into REM sleep. Okay? Our body also makes this gas called nitric oxide. It is produced in the nasal sinus area. When you breathe through your mouth, you can't get access to that nitric oxide. And you need to Google nitric oxide. It's worth your time. You can learn all about this special gas that your body needs while you're sleeping. It goes in and heals to some degree and gets your enough oxygen going and blood flowing. And it touches a lot of organs in your body. So if you don't have access to that, that's a big deal. And so, with that said, other questions are, do you have heartburn or acid reflux? Do you have asthma? You know, asthma, if you breathe through your mouth and you get that cold, dirty air in, that exacerbates the asthma. Cold, you know, a lot of people with asthma, they can't go outside in the winter because it's just too hard on them to breathe in that cold air. So if you learn how to breathe through your nose, you get warm, clean air. Check on my time. Do you have a chronic cough? Do you have chronic throat clearing? A lot of people cough after they swallow their food, and that's because it didn't go down well enough. A lot of people complain about something stuck right here in their throat. Whenever you have a tongue thrust or your mouth breathing and you swallow, your swallow is weak. And that is why people feel things here. People go to the doctor, and years ago, the doctors used to send these people to psychiatrists because they couldn't find anything on their exam that was wrong. And so they thought these people were, having some psychological problems, but that's not true. That's one of the things that goes away pretty quickly once you start the program and learn how to swallow correctly. Some people have trouble swallowing pills. That's a big deal. And with this program, you can learn just like that how to swallow a pill. Some other things, you might have bad dreams or you might have a stomach ache. When people mouth breathe and they chew their food, you might hear some smacking of the lips, or you might see the person, chewing with their mouth open. And the reason they do that is because they have to get air in while they're chewing. Because if you chew properly, like your parents always told you to, you can't get any air in through your mouth. And so you're afraid that you aren't going to breathe properly. But there are many different things that are helped. Okay, I'm rattling on. Is there anything that you want to add in right here? Have I got a
No,
few more
I want to
minutes?
just say, I want people to know that there's something with memory with your tongue.
Yes,
Like
yes.
my tongue now automatically goes to the roof of my mouth. It never did that before.
I know,
And
I know.
sometimes I'll think about it. I'll go, my tongue is up on the roof of my mouth.
I'm so glad you
Never
brought
was
that up.
before.
I know. Okay, so there are a couple of things going on. One is, you've always heard, I think, that if you want to make a new habit, you have to repeat, repeat, repeat. Okay?
Right.
You don't do it one time a day for you'd be in there for 20 years, okay? You repeat, repeat, repeat. That's why you have to exercise 2 times a day. It might take 15 minutes. So your tongue learns through the habitual method to stay up there. But at the same time, your tongue muscles have muscle memory. So those two
Right.
things
They do.
combined help that tongue stay in the proper place. That's a very good point. I just wanted to mention some other things. Were you going to say something?
I just wanted to say these exercises, they are
Uh-huh.
so easy and it doesn't take a lot of time. I
I
mean, it's
know.
not like going to the gym and working out for an hour or so. I mean, this is, and I got it. I think the most important thing, Janet, is uh, it works. And you know
I
what?
know.
I think those people that the 6% supposedly that it didn't work for. I wonder if they did their exercises like they were
Okay,
supposed to.
they either found out there are two reasons for those 6%. Part of that 6% found out that they could not breathe through their nose well enough to do it. And I don't know why
Okay.
they didn't go get their nose fixed or what, but there was some reason with the
Right.
nasal breathing. The other is that they didn't really do their exercises. You know, a lot of people, when you do exercise, or not just with your tongue, but with anything, or just learning how to write something, whatever you do, when you do it, you say, oh, good, I can do that now. But you still need to practice. And a lot of people think, well, I don't need to do that 2 times today. I've done it and I did it correctly. But they're missing the repetition side that makes the new habit. Yeah, that's
Janet,
what
I
that's
think
all about.
also one of the things that helped me, because it's all part of your kit, is you actually walked me through it. And I think that helped me a lot just to understand how to do it, because you are
Right.
very hands on with your kit.
Absolutely. Okay, so a couple of real important things I need to tell you that I've made some new things, new changes. One is you can, whenever you get the program online, it's all electronic, but I will be mailing you a special package with that tongue stick and some props that we need to make these changes. Um, but also, you will get a free 45-minute Zoom meeting with me as soon as you purchase the program so that I can evaluate you and check out, see if there are any other issues. You might have a tongue tie where that frenum under your tongue is too tight. You might have that in addition to things. There might be other things that I can help identify for you, okay? And I'll make sure that you'll be able to do the exercises and but I'm always available. That's the thing. Phone number, um, website, email. I'm always there to help.
And
Oh,
Janet,
one,
I hate to do this to people, but tell people how dangerous sleep apnea is.
well, sleep apnea. Okay. You start snoring, you snore for years, you get louder, you snore more, and soon, I mean, there's a big percentage of the time that it develops into sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is when your tongue totally blocks your airway. When you're snoring, your tongue partially blocks your airway. But when you do it long enough, and I mean, not everybody gets sleep apnea, but a lot do. So you want to stop. You want to stop mouth breathing so it doesn't lead to that. So when your significant other looks at you in bed because they've heard you go, they know you aren't breathing. And it scares them. I'm sure y'all have gotten punched quite a few times for that. But that means that the person stopped breathing, and that is a sign of sleep apnea,
Yes.
and you need to go to a sleep doctor and find out what's going on. Okay. The other thing I was going to say about the program, but before, if you're sitting there thinking, oh, do I need this? Do I do it? Whatever. I am also offering a free 15-minute Zoom meeting to meet with someone to help them decide whether or not they really need this program. So
Oh,
I'm
that's
trying to
nice.
cover it on both ends, okay? Because it's an important investment. I mean, like I said, it's not expensive, but it needs to be done. If you snore, you need to seriously think about doing this.
Hey, expensive is buying a CPAP machine, is
Oh,
buying one or getting one of those elements that dentists do that
I
puts
know,
apparatus in your mouth. Those
I
are
know,
expensive, and they're
I
not
know.
covered by insurance either.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Well, what other questions could we oh, if I've got a
You know,
few minutes, I wanna run down
it's
just a few
very
more things.
important. I want people to understand, because I mean, there's so many things out there that that we just get numb to. That oh, it's not going to work, folks. I had probably the worst snoring ever. The doctors not only put me on a CPAP machine, they put me on what's called a BiPAP machine. That's the next level up. And for Janet's her I don't know what to call it. This what you have
Exercise?
developed that it actually gets you to stop snoring and
Right.
to take the CPAP. Listen, I'm not putting down the CPAP machine, but I am saying it is so uncomfortable to sleep with.
I know. I
That's not
know.
a normal way of sleep.
I know.
And, I'm telling you, if you'll try Janet's techniques, it is going to be worth every penny. I
I
am
know. It
telling you,
will.
I can't emphasize enough because I guess because I went through it.
I know. I know.
And I, I was, I told people before you came on, I was a doubter because there's so many things. Put tape on your nose, do this, do that, and you do it and it
I
doesn't
know.
work.
I know.
And
Let,
so to
let
find
me.
something, a technique that really does work, I'll tell you how much it works. I called Janet up and I said, we got to get this show in every one of our markets. I have never done that before. And we made it possible that we're now showing this in every one of our cities now because of me being a snorer, knowing what it's like. And
Right.
I haven't had to turn my machine on in months at
Right.
all. And I sleep.
Right.
And you know what, Janet? I am
What?
more rested now during the day than
That
ever before.
that's because you're getting into REM sleep and you're
Right.
able to access that nitric oxide. So you're able to really sleep deeply. Okay. If I can just throw out a few more ideas here, because there are a lot of people out there with these, weird kinds of things like aerophagia. I don't know if you know what that means, but what
No,
happens is I was talking about chewing your food with your mouth open. If you do that, you might have a tummy ache after you eat because you've swallowed so much air. Who
right.
knew?
That
Okay,
makes
so that
sense.
would get rid of that. Anxiety is a big part of not sleeping well. In the Netherlands, in I can't remember, it wasn't too many years ago, they did a big study, the neurologist in the Netherlands, and it's always been that people with mental issues like PTSD or anxiety, or all these different mental issues, they knew that not sleeping well was a big part of those mental issues. But what they've been doing is they've been trying to treat the mental issue, and that's not easy to do, and they've just realized now that, wait, let's treat the sleep disorder first,
Yes.
okay? Sleep comes first, and then they see the decline in the mental issue quite often. So that to me is a very interesting reversal. And it's huge because there are too many people out there who don't sleep well. And think about being on the road, riding with them on the road, and they've not had good sleep. Let's see, bad dreams. A lot of people have bad dreams, and these are all sleep deprivation symptoms. So if you can sleep well by closing your lips, breathing through your nose, these things can possibly go away. A lot of people have the chronic coughing and throat clearing because of something they think is stuck. This will get rid of that. Daytime sleepiness is one of the number one symptoms of uh, uh, not getting enough sleep because you're sleepy during the daytime. And when you start doing this program, one week you'll think, oh my, I normally get sleepy at about 1 o'clock every day, but I didn't get sleepy until 3 today. Or I didn't get sleepy until later, and I wasn't that sleepy. And by the end of 7 weeks, they don't need a nap. They don't feel sleepy in the daytime. These are the little things that just takes time to let you know this can really happen just by learning to close your lips. Difficulty concentrating comes with sleep deprivation, excessive belching, heartburn, lip incompetence. Do you know what that is? People who breathe through their mouth, they often, I don't know if I can show it, but they have an incompetent upper lip, meaning the upper lip is shorter. And it's shorter, I can't really do it. It's shorter because the lips have never married.
Mm.
They've never had to close together. So that upper lip is allowed to stay up. Okay, you know people like this. You've seen them. And a lot of them look like they're sickly, like they've got a cold, but this is what they do. Like this. So whenever you learn how to close your lips and breathe, your whole facial features, they change. They look well. They look nourished. Okay, they look normal. And so there are just lots of little differences. Restless leg syndrome used to be called a neurological problem. And back in 2003, when people told me that they didn't have restless legs anymore whenever they did my exercises, I really didn't believe that. But I had to end up believing it because everybody said it. And now what the research is showing is that they are now calling restless leg syndrome a sleep deprivation disorder. Okay, so that makes sense. If you sleep better, then your restless legs should get better. And of course, snoring, you'll stop snoring. And if you're snoring right now and your significant other is in the other bedroom, that can change a lot of other things too.
I got to say this, and I think people who snore will understand what I'm saying. I would go out in my car, drive somewhere, and I would almost feel myself nodding off.
Hmm.
Very, I even wonder sometimes how many accidents were from people who nodded off for a few minutes. But when you're not sleeping well because you're snoring, it's going to
Yeah,
affect you during the day.
right, right,
And I have not had that problem since I've done your techniques and gotten off the CPAP machine.
right.
And I'm sleep because even on the CPAP machine, Janet, it is so uncomfortable. Yes, you're not snoring, but God, it's the most
Well,
uncomfortable way to sleep.
I think a lot of times those machines, because they've got a lot of different ones, they prevent you from closing your lips sometimes. And if anything
Yeah.
prevents you from closing your lips, do not touch it. You should be closing your lips. Okay. That means, yeah, that's just not good. And if anything that you're trying prevents your tongue from living up on the roof, you don't want to try it. You don't need that. Those are the two major things that need to happen. Um,
Janet, tell people how they can reach you and order your
okay,
program.
okay, okay. So I have several different things. The email is author, like the writing a book, AUTHOR, author at IJustWantToSleep.com. Or I have another one, www.correctmytonguethrust.com. Not all snorers have a tongue thrust, but a large percentage do. Same exercises treat all of it, snoring, tongue thrust. So don't stop and try to figure out if you need it or not. My phone number is 828-273-9888. What else do you need? I
What's your
will answer
website?
your emails. I will answer emails. I will answer your calls or call you back. I'm here to help.
Janet's with us the last Tuesday of each month, and she'll be back with us again next month. But you can go to the iHeart library and pull it up on our Ask the Experts Stop Snoring. If you want to watch any of our past shows, Janet, I love you.
Oh, thank you, Steve.
Thank you so much for what you've done for me. And we'll
Well,
see you again next month.
I love the fact that you had enough confidence to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I
Thanks,
hear you're
Janet.
on TikTok. We're on TikTok now, right?
We are on TikTok now.
Okay. Well, on TikTok, I am the tongue thrust lady. You can learn a lot more
Beautiful.
from
Thanks,
other
Janet.
things. Thank you.
That is
Have a good
Janet
day.
Bennett. And if you stop snoring. Hey, that's it for us today. We'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts. Have a wonderful short week. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.